At Fort Talon Air Base, the hangar buzzed with the usual morning chaos. Cadets in crisp uniforms shuffled between simulation rooms, chatter rising like static. Near Bay 7, a junior officer glanced toward the far end of the line where she stood. Old boots, stiff posture, weathered eyes that didn't blink when the cold cut. The others called her ma'am out of habit, not respect. She moved slowly, checking a clipboard filled with flight schedules and maintenance checks. One cadet leaned into another, smirking. That one again? The map lady, still bringing her tin box like it's 1980. Another snorted. She'd get lost in her own driveway without GPS. The laughter was quiet, but not enough to be missed. Then the alert hit. Emergency code Delta. Red flare across the intercom. Base commander's voice broke through overhead, calm but hard. A recon team had gone dark in the Ashfield Ridge zone. Rough terrain, weather's collapsing, intel gone. No drone feed, no comms. Risk of hostile contact. They needed a team in the air within the hour. No more than 10 pilots. Only veterans. The screen flicked on behind the commander. The roster loaded line by line. Call signs, ranks, mission clearances. Then it froze on one name. Raines A. Lead. The hangar fell dead quiet. One of the younger lieutenants muttered it under his breath, but everyone heard. Send her first. We all go down. No one responded. Not the commander. Not the squad. No reprimand. Just cold silence. She didn't blink. Didn't turn toward him. Didn't ask why. She just reached down, picked up her metal case, and walked away. Her fingers brushed the A-10's faded fuselage. The old warbird wasn't pretty, not next to the row of polished F-35s parked nearby, their wings gleaming in the frost. But it was solid, proven. Every bolt held memories, some better forgotten. She opened the hatch, climbed into the cockpit, and sat without sound. No rush. Every motion was habit. She ran her gloved hand across the control panel, pressing gently at each switch, as if greeting an old friend. From her flight bag, she pulled a dented metal box. Inside, one folded map, corners curled and dirty ink smudged, but still readable. A hand-drawn route that once saved her life. Dust clung to it fine as sand from Ashfield's sister op Hurricane Siege 2011. That one never made headlines. A few yards away, Rodriguez booted up his F-35 with a tap on his digital console. His HUD lit like a video game. He laughed into his helmet mic, didn't bother lowering his voice. She's flying that might as well take a bicycle. Technical Officer Chen across the command bay noticed something odd while verifying pilot files. Ava's clearance tag blinked. T1 Combat Rescue. He tapped deeper. Verified. Flight log confirmed last issued during Operation Hurricane Siege. Close-range extraction under indirect artillery fire. 6 evacuees. No drone support. Night op. Manual nav. He paused. Swiped again. She refused the commendation. Said the 3 she didn't save outweighed the 6 she did. Back in the mission briefing room, she sat alone near the back. Folded arms. Eyes sharp, quiet. The room buzzed with updates. Satellite images. Weather modeling. Flight telemetry. The commanding officer pointed at Sector Echo 5. Storm patterns showed rising anomalies. Wind shear risk. Electrical interference. High turbulence. She raised her hand. What's the pressure trend in Echo 5? The room shifted uncomfortably. Another officer replied, clipped. Modern avionics can stabilize through anything. This isn't 2011 Major. She said nothing, just nodded, folded her map carefully, slid it back into the tin box, then waited. There was no applause, no acknowledgement, and still, she said nothing. The briefing room was built for efficiency, not comfort. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The projector hummed. A digital topographical map of Ashfield Ridge glowed on the screen, sectioned into grids marked Echo 3 through Echo 7. Red bands swept across the upper corner interference zones. Low visibility projections and crosswinds flagged as moderate risk. The meteorology officer spoke quickly. Data sheets scrolled behind him. Altitude shifts possible, jamming high turbulence in sectors 5 and 7. He pointed at the corridor the strike team would fly through. Narrow, fast, just under cloud level. No drones, no air cover, just 10 pilots. Radar support would cut out after the third ridge. Nightfall expected within 90 minutes of launch. Communications likely dead past waypoint 4. She stood near the door, arms folded, helmet under one arm. The other sat forward, tapping through HUD overlays, syncing tactical maps. One leaned back with his feet up. Any questions? She raised her hand. Echo 5 storm cell is rotating. Recommend course deviation. That pattern will slide southeast. Sector 7 will close off within the hour. The room shifted. Someone scoffed. Ma'am, the AI models accounted for drift 2 hours ago. Adjustments are live. She didn't answer. Didn't argue. Another voice, younger, louder. Our F-35s can eat through cloud cells like that. It's not 2010 anymore. No laughter, but a smirk here. A glance there. She nodded once, folded the old paper map, smooth, slow, slid it into her chest pocket, stepped back without a sound. Nobody followed her. The briefing continued. She was already gone. Cold morning. Skies churning low. Visibility dropping by the minute. One by one, aircraft taxied to the main runway. 9 F-35s glided forward in near silence, engines humming with manufactured precision. HUDs glowing. Checklists synced. Pilots barely touched their sticks. At the far end, the A-10 waited. Ugly, wide-winged, its shark-like nose scarred from years of abuse. A symbol from another era. She strapped in. Checked analog gauges, tapped the altimeter. No HUD. Just glass dials and her own memory. She flipped one switch, then another, then 3 more in practiced rhythm. Nothing rushed. Nothing wasted. Clearance came through. Tower voice flat. Flight Team Talon 01. Window green. Launch. Each bird lifted clean. Smooth arcs into thickening sky. Call signs chirped in. Casual chatter light bragging false ease. Her turn came. She rolled forward. Nose up. The yoke felt stiff in her hand. Real. Honest. She pulled gently. The bird responded. As she rose above the base, she heard one voice over the comms. Still sticking to the museum piece, ma'am. She didn't reply. Below her, the runway vanished into cloud. Inside her cockpit, a single sticker remained. Faded. Edges curled. No one left behind. Not even me. And with that, she disappeared into the storm. By the 20-minute mark, the first signal vanished. Falcon 4 dropped off radar without a ping. No transponder pulse. No distress call. Just gone. A controller tapped their console. Hard. Recalibrated. No change. The room filled with clipped voices, unsure pauses. Falcon 7 blinked out next. Then 9. Then 2. All on schedule. All without warning. In the sky, weather turned vicious. High-altitude shearing cut across the ridgelines. Visibility dropped below usable thresholds. Autopilots struggled, AI maps lagged by seconds. Not enough to matter in theory. Deadly in practice. She flew lower. Her gauges bounced from vibration. Her hands were steady. She scanned outside, eyes sweeping the jagged edges of Ashfield Ridge. Deep folds, black rock crests lined like shark teeth. She knew this terrain. Not from drones. From memory. She adjusted trim, manually. Cut speed. Dropped gear slightly to slow descent. Let the old machine hug the updrafts. She banked left along a ravine where heat often gathered, a trick from years back. Fog rose in sheets. Her comm stayed silent. Falcon 6 called in. Static laced the transmission. Flight control, this is 6. We're losing nav. HUD flashing. Going full blackout. Can't see nothing more. In the base control room, chaos built. Technicians scrambled to re-establish data flow. AI logs replayed useless diagnostics. The commander stared at a wall of red losses. Only one call sign remained stable. Talon lead. Ava Raines. She didn't speak. Didn't ask for guidance. She flew by visuals. Watched shadows, judged wind by rock shimmer snow spray. She knew what to ignore, what mattered, what killed. Her altimeter dipped as she found a narrow canyon. A cluster of trees broke pattern unnatural. She adjusted pitch, pulled throttle back. Eyes sharp. Checked her thermal scanner. Barely functional, but it blinked once. Then again. Life. She circled. Twice. No GPS, no digital anchor. Just instinct and a battered map balanced across her thigh. The spot matched her 2011 route. Same curve in the ridgeline. Same wind pocket. She clicked manual override. Flaps full. Dropped into landing posture. Winds slammed her side. One wheel clipped stone. The A-10 bucked like a wild thing metal, screaming as it fought gravity. She stayed on the stick. Pulled gently. Countered the roll. Touched down with bone-jarring force. Dirt. Dust. Silence. She opened the canopy. Climbed down. Boots met frozen earth. She moved fast. Pulled a beacon, activated its emergency ping. Signals might not reach base, but someone had to try. She jogged toward the heat source. 3 men injured, barely mobile. Uniforms, torn gear scattered. One aimed a sidearm until his eyes focused. You're her." She didn't answer. She pulled 2 upright, slung the 3rd over her back. They hobbled back under rotor, groan, and wind howl. Time mattered. She loaded them in, checked vitals, shut the hatch. No fanfare, just breath and motion. Engine lights blinked red. She muttered, "Just give me 5 more minutes." And the old bird answered. She pushed throttle forward. The A-10 roared back to life, engines grumbling under strain. A warning light flared, hydraulic pressure dropping. Another blinked, amber wing integrity compromised. She didn't flinch. Her fingers moved with calm precision, stabilizing pitch, manually easing off just enough to lift. Wheels barely left the ground before bullets ripped across the ridge. Muzzle flashes bloomed in the dark. She jerked the yoke left, forcing the nose to dip, skimming the rock face. An alarm screamed. Hydraulic system 2 offline. She cut non-essential systems, redirected pressure. The left wing dragged but held, rudder stiff, right stick only. She adjusted, found control in the damage. One hand flew the aircraft. The other clenched a photo jammed into the cockpit's console, a faded print of a squadron from another war. Faces almost gone. She stared once, long enough to remember names. The A-10 shook violently as more rounds hit fuselage. Armor clanged but didn't breach. The bird groaned like it wanted to quit. She kept flying. She didn't radio in. No distress signal. Nothing wasted. She knew this airspace. Every pass. Every updraft. She flew the way they trained decades ago, by feel, by wind, by raw instinct. When the nav system blinked out entirely, she didn't check again. The recon team moaned behind her, strapped down, bleeding but breathing. One called out, "Are we hit?" She didn't answer. Smoke curled from her right panel. Another light blinked red. She stayed on course. Ashfield's North Exit Canyon came into view, narrow, curved, high terrain on both sides. A known trap, perfect for anti-air setups. She banked hard right, low, almost scraping the edge. Her left wing clipped a branch. She corrected mid-turn, yoke, stiff under her palm. She didn't curse, just adjusted. More fire. Tracers zipped past the canopy. She ignored it. The altimeter warned of rapid descent. She pushed throttle again. The engine sputtered once, then caught. She rolled level, climbed, gritting her teeth. The base wasn't far now, 27 miles, then 20, then 10. The control tower hadn't heard from her. Screens still showed blackouts. Command believed all aircraft lost. She broke cloud cover, headed straight in. Then her comms sparked once. Talon, control. "This is Raines. 7 aboard. Request medical team." Silence. Then chaos on the other end. "Ava, is that really you, affirmative? Coming in low." She didn't smile, just gripped the yoke tighter. Below, runway lights glowed like home. The landing gear groaned as she lowered the A-10 into final approach. Wind buffeted the sides. One stabilizer hung loose, torn halfway. Right engine coughed smoke. The bird bucked once. She corrected, held the nose steady. Let gravity and muscle memory finish the job. Wheels screeched against tarmac. The aircraft bounced hard, skidded sideways, then corrected itself. The final 100 feet crawled by, metal grinding, warning lights flashing. Then it stopped, just barely inside the arrest line. She powered down, shut the master switch. Then she didn't move. For 5 full seconds she sat in the smoke, her fingers resting on the yoke, her eyes forward. The fuselage hissed behind her skin, peeled and scorched. Something dripped, something clicked. Then the canopy lifted. Ground crews rushed in, yelling orders, waving stretchers. Medics pulled open the side access and began extracting the wounded. 3 were unconscious, 2 had broken legs. 1 looked up, saw her face under the helmet, and whispered, "That's her." No one replied. She climbed out without help. 1 foot, then the next. Boots hit concrete, knees almost buckled. She steadied herself. The base went still. Crew chiefs, lieutenants, command officers all watched. Some stepped forward, then stopped. She didn't make eye contact. Just walked. Smoke curled from the wing behind her. They tried to call her to the command tent. A staffer held a folder marked with the citation. Medal of Valor. Full honors. Command wanted her on stage. She kept walking. Up the steps of the debrief building, past the brass, into the main room. 1 long table, white cloth, clean chairs. No one inside. She placed her helmet on the edge, gently. Next to it the metal box, the one she'd carried for years. She opened it, took out the hand-drawn map, smoothed it flat, left it there. Then she turned and left. No speech, no salute, no smile, just silence. Outside, wind picked up. Somewhere a group of new recruits watched from a distance. One of them held a training log, pages open to a checklist for emergency navigation. He'd heard the stories, thought they were myths. He watched the woman in the flight suit vanish around the corner. Didn't say a word. He didn't need to. He understood. She never returned to combat flight. Instead, they gave her a classroom, windowless, no flags, no podium, just mats on the floor. Timed obstacle drills, chalk marks on concrete, stopwatch always running. She didn't lecture, didn't ask for attention. Cadets learned fast she wouldn't repeat instructions. She showed them once, then waited. Failure wasn't punished. It was expected. Mistakes were cataloged, quietly corrected. They were taught to move under pressure, to think past panic, to decide with breath control and silent math. Sometimes between exercises they whispered, "She's the one who came back." No one asked directly. They didn't have to. Her name wasn't on a plaque, but her map was still in the training archive, faded, sand still tucked in the crease. One evening someone wrote a line on the back wall in careful block print. "Experience isn't loud, it's ready." No one claimed it. She never mentioned it, but she didn't erase it either. She just walked in the next morning, held up a stopwatch. "Time starts now." The session ended. Cadets packed up, shoulders heavy with sweat and silence. One lingered behind, young, sharp, still new to losing. He waited until she locked the gear cabinet. "Ma'am, what if the systems fail all of them?" She paused, looked at him but not through him. "What if nothing works? What do we do then?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she walked to the corner, opened the metal box, pulled out the same map, edges curled, creases permanent, a smear of old graphite, a grain of ash field dust still caught in the fold. She held it out. "Fly like I did, one breath at a time." He took it with both hands, didn't speak, and she turned off the lights. Only the map glowed faintly from the hallway beam. No one else was left in the room, but somehow it felt full.